Greetings, everybody. It is the garlic bread warlord, Nick Leafy. It is soccer over there. It is it's always an interesting time whenever we get Jason and John together on this wonderful podcast. But we have to start off with, of course, sending our thoughts and prayers to the people of Paris. If you're just in your car and you're streaming and you haven't been touching the internet all day, I salute you. But the Cathedral de Notre Dame in Paris has burned, and it is without question one of the bucket list items for anyone who wants to travel and anybody who wants to go to Europe. It's an icon of Paris. I wish that I could have gone before it caught fire, but my wife has been, and the images are beautiful and it's absolutely stunning. You're talking about a structure that was. The cornerstone was laid in like 1163. So, Paris will rebuild, and it's one of those things that it really sucks when we watch it. And a lot of people in our audience have wonderful memories I've been looking at via Twitter. But our thoughts and prayers, of course, go out, and we salute the firefighters and the first responders, of course, who were first on the scene to help put the fire out. For those who are new to the soccer world, on Twitter, you may also be noticing a lot of random hashtags that you don't really know what they mean. Justice for the 96, hashtag Hillsborough. Today is also a very solemn memorial for the Hillsborough disaster. And to go and kind of give us a 101 on the Hillsborough disaster and its place in soccer history, I'm going to toss it to John. John, thanks for carrying this topic for us.
Oh, yeah. If you look on my Twitter timeline at OSG Nelson, one of the things that I pointed out today was must viewing. And it was, I think it's now 6 years old, but BBC Panorama did an investigation on the Hillsborough tragedy and unearthed evidence and exposed a lot of just what was in the minds of the West Midlands police force and the cover-up and everything that happened after 30 years ago, 96 men, women, and children. The youngest was 10 years old. They were killed in a crush at the FA Cup semifinal between Liverpool and Nottingham Forest. And because of the sizes of the grounds, it was played at Sheffield Wednesday's Hillsborough football ground, and it was 30 years ago today. So if you see people saying JFT 96 is a hashtag, that's short for Justice for the 96, and you see Hillsborough and what this is all about, that the city of Liverpool basically fell silent at 3:06 in the afternoon, which was when the match was stopped, and for really lack of a better phrase, all hell broke loose. With the crush of fans and everything that was going on, you end up with a town that is always going to remember everyone who lost their lives that day. You had one as young as 10, one as old as 67, 37 of those 96 were teenagers, 25 were fathers, one was a mother, and 58 people lost a parent. And, when you have this kind of an anniversary, you have people in the streets of Liverpool basically just stopping where they are and staring at the clock atop City Hall. And it is one of those moments where you will always remember, if you're a Liverpool supporter, where you were, if you were of age. Today at the memorial, the first team, the women's team, and the academy team all paid their respects. And to this day, there are still trials that are going on involving those of people who were thought to be a part of the cover-up and those seminal in the cover-up from the West Midlands police side of things. One of those folks, David Duckenfield, who was the chief superintendent for South Yorkshire Police at the time. He is still going through trials to this day. Back on the 3rd of this month, the jury couldn't reach a verdict. in the charge of him causing deaths by gross negligence manslaughter. And so the Crown is seeking a retrial. There's a hearing set for late June. And during that same trial, you had another individual convicted of breaching his duty for the care of safety because of turnstiles. And really, I would suggest watching that panorama, and it's about an hour long. And it breaks down everything that the South Yorkshire police did to try to steer blame from themselves and onto drunken Liverpool supporters who urinated on cops, and it gets into the whole conspiracy and what they did to plant information with the Sun newspaper. So whenever you mention the Sun newspaper to Liverpool supporters, they never read it, they don't subscribe to it, and if they could set them all on fire every single day, they would. So it is something that has been going on for 30 years. It is part of the fabric of Liverpool, and it never should have happened, but we all live with it. And full disclosure, I am a part of, I've contributed to the family support group for Hillsborough because there's still a lot of injustice going on out there. It's associated with this, and it's been 30 years of cover-ups and trials and charges and tribunals and everything, and it's still going on today.
And so, John, when this happened, what was it? Just it's in the middle of the FA Cup.
Yeah.
And
6 minutes in.
6 minutes in. Is it just that this part of the stadium gave way? What set this into motion?
What happened was that Liverpool supporters were herded into two areas behind one of the goals, and only two, when there was a third area behind one of the goals that was easily accessible, had pins been opened and gates been opened to alleviate the crush of fans. So you had all of these Liverpool supporters being herded into these two pins, and it was just the absolute crush of fans trying to get in as the match is starting, and you're going in through these two gates, and there's no room for anyone to go. And so as people are up front, they're being pushed from behind, they're being crushed, and they're being crushed up against an iron fence. I mean, there is no place for them to go, and it is standing room. And the South Yorkshire police finally opened up a gateway and started, as the fans are yelling and screaming that folks, they can't breathe, they need help, they need medical attention. South Yorkshire police finally opened up one of the gates that led out to the pitch. And so if you look at the video from the match from BBC that day, the commentator actually is mentioning the fact that there are fans coming onto the pitch, and they are right up against the end line, and they're calling for help and they're calling for assistance because people are hurt and they need medical attention. And then you just had people storming out into the penalty area and out into the six and out into the area. And it caused the referee to sit there and stop the match because you had people storming out there pointing backwards behind this net saying, these people need medical assistance. And then it just went from there.
Absolute tragedy. It's something where whenever you see Premier League coverage, and especially with Liverpool, when they do a scan of the stadium outside, you will see the memorial. And I've had people ask me before, Nick, why does Liverpool have this memorial outside? I used to watch college football, I used to watch NFL. I've never watched this before. I turn on a soccer game and there's a memorial outside of the stadium. Now we know why that is the case. John, thanks for covering that for us.
Yeah.
If you guys have any questions about it, comments, you want to leave a tribute, by all means, hit us up. Let us know what your thoughts are on it at SOC over there, SOC over there, or you can hit us up on our individual accounts, and we will ping them up today. So let's go ahead and if we can, let's get to a commercial break. We'll reset and we will come back, get into some Champions League coverage, and talk about all the wonderful, insane things that are going on around the world today on Soccer Over There.
Today's show is presented by Appolinsky & Associates, personal injury lawyers with over 30 years of experience, supporters of Atlanta United, Faction, and Inter-Atlanta Youth Football Club. If you've been hurt in a wreck, contact Steve today at steve@aa-legal.com or call in 24/7 at 404-377-9191. The initial consultation is free.
A ranger station.
I'd like to report a bear hug.
Okay.
I put out my campfire and Smokey Bear hugged me.
So you drowned the fire, you stirred it, drowned it again, and felt that it was cold?
Uh-huh.
Yep, he's just letting you know you did good.
Bear hug from Smokey Bear. Status update.
I'm gonna let you go now. There are many ways to start a fire, but one sure way to put it out. Learn how you can do your part at SmokeyBear.com.
Sponsored by the U.S. Forest Service, Ad Council, and your state forester.
We know that every driver is different, and a one-size policy does not fit all. That's why Country Financial offers a variety of discounts, so you get the coverage you need and the savings you deserve. From good driver to good student, multi-policy to multi-car, we've got a discount to suit every driver. Call Jason Wright at 678-568-6871 today to see what you could save. On Facebook at Jason Wright Agency, or by phone at 678-568-6871. Discounts vary by state. Policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, or Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
Every hiring manager knows that a company is only as good as the people it's made from. So where do you find the best people? That may surprise you.
Meet the grads of life. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
This is talent worth knowing about.
Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
All right, welcome back to Soccer Over There. Thanks for sticking with us. More on the Hillsborough commentary. Former Atlanta United announcer Alan Green had a great one-on-one sit down with you, Mr. John Nelson, and we are efforting to get you guys that interview so that way you could check out his point of view. He was there as a radio commentator, so you'll have a first-hand account of someone who was actually there on that day.
We also shared Arlo White tweeted out a link to Peter Jones and his commentary on the day and the video of that, his final report from Hillsborough that day. It's another one to check out as you want to learn more. And as Nathan Pugh said on Twitter as well, the 30 for 30 on ESPN Plus about Hillsborough is a great documentary, and that was where I really learned a lot about it, having not known much about it until that documentary was done.
Yeah, and go ahead, John.
No, I was just going to say that being able to discover in all of my, research of Hillsborough, that Alan was there for BBC Radio that day and got to do one of the first interviews with an on-site doctor, I believe, who was there as a spectator, and it was an alarming interview at the time, but it was anything that you see come across your table about Hillsborough. Nathan Pugh's 30 for 30, this BBC panorama that's on YouTube, I would recommend it because it is something that is still ongoing, and it's a part of the fabric of the sport that I think that we all need to find out more about.
100%. And we go to these stadiums now, right? And they're state of the art, and they have all the bells and whistles. But just keep in mind, there was a time when that wasn't the case. And if you go to a sporting event in Europe, it's not going to be like going to a sporting event here stateside, where you may be sitting next to 2 or 3 Orlando fans if you're in Atlanta, or you may be sitting next to a random Portland fan. Over there, they really herd you into certain areas and say, look, we're going to quarantine you over here. Do not come in gate 1, gate 2. That is not for you. For home fans only. You're coming into gate 3. That's your entrance and exit point. There's security over there. Don't bother going anywhere else. And there's a reason for all of this. There's a reason why the stadiums nowadays have the bells and whistles and the structural integrity reports and so forth, because we have paid a price as a community of soccer fans and sporting fans in general for a lack of preparation in those areas. So, it's something to certainly be mindful of. And if you are new to the sport, it's important to learn the history and learn why some things are the way they are. My 2 cents on it. Gentlemen, let us venture forth to Champions League, kicking back off tomorrow, 3 p.m. Juventus versus Ajax. We're going to start there. Ajax having to do a little bit of clawback here. And Juventus is going to be a little shorthanded. They're a tired team. Lost this past weekend against Spal. But Mario Mandzukic and Giorgio Chiellini are going to be out. So Ajax maybe has a puncher's chance.
Yeah, I think they definitely have a puncher's chance. And Goal.com reports that Frankie de Jong should be fit enough to feature for Ajax. That gives them a little bit of a boost. Substituted in the first half of Ajax's 6-2 win over the weekend against Excelsior. It's one of the great team names I've ever seen. They're not very good. They're at the bottom of the Eredivisie, but, hey, take what you can get. They have a great name. De Jong came out with
the best team names are never good.
There's Jared. I knew something weird would bring Jared into the mix. There he is. Excelsior.
It's like a sixth sense.
Seriously.
Just weird or trash things, and I'm powered
Jared shows up. Weirdness. Anyway, De Jong was substituted in the first half with a hamstring injury, but he's been cleared. He made the trip to Italy. Should be ready to go. Can Ajax get enough here? It's 1-1. They don't have the away goal tiebreak as of now. Juve has that. Juve's missing pieces. Jarrett, why don't we start with you? What do you think? Can Ajax do this?
I would like to think so. At the very least, if they don't do it, I hope they at least make it fun, because I was on the record last week thinking this was just going to be miserable and like Alabama-esque. And I don't want it to do that. I want Ajax to go in there and do something fun early on and make them scramble a bit.
What do you think, John?
So is this like Alabama Clemson or Alabama Oklahoma for you, Jared?
I mean, I was expecting this to be like 2011 Alabama LSU title game, but just merciless and just suffocating. But I'm kind of hoping it's more along the lines of like Alabama Clemson, like someone pulls a Trevor Lawrence for Ajax, and hey, they did like they did in the first leg, and just goes, hey, we did a world class thing, and now Juventus has to kind of come out play, and I'm hoping that happens. I'm hoping you want them to score in that instance, but even if they don't score, just putting Juventus under pressure and making people's eyebrows kind of do the Groucho Marx thing. I'd like to think, I'd like to think that they'll kind of get exciting for a bit. I'm very optimistic about what they can bring to the table, and hopefully they're able to come out firing.
Would I love to see it? Yes. Do I think it's going to happen? No. I think it's going to be a grinder. I think that Ajax probably teases us all, but I think that Juve makes it through.
So, Nick, with the injuries in Juve's squad, how do you think they handle that?
I think that they're going to want to start off and grind it out. I think their hope is, let's go as deep as we can and just absorb all the pressure and bust them on a counter, because Ajax is going to have to look for that goal. They're going to be pushing forward. And if there's a team better in Europe at the bunker and counter than Juve, please flag them down and let me know, because they are currently holding the blueprints on every which way to do it. And I think that Allegri is the manager who knows this. He, say whatever you want about the guy, but he knows how to handle games like this. And he will grind it out. Sorry, Jarrett, but I think that may be what we're looking at here. That 2011 Alabama, grind them down, and then when you least expect it, they'll bust on the counter. I think Juve walks out of this with a 1-0 win. I'm hoping that Ajax proves me wrong, because I really, really love watching these kids play. When I say kids, I mean kids, like 19-year-olds starting on a Champions League game. That's what it's supposed to be. Let these kids fly. I hope Ajax gets it done. But the better in me says 1-0 Juve.
I'm kind of leaning that same way.
The only thing that comes to mind for that kind of style you're talking about in the top of my head, the only thing that comes to mind off the top of my head is the Atletico Madrid teams from the last few years with a manager who I thought would actually beat his players with a sugar cane rod. If they gave up a goal, I thought Simeone is literally going to beat his players.
Well, the thing is that maybe so. I think that Juve is probably a little less physical than that Atletico squad. That Atletico squad, I'm pretty sure, as they played that game, they were mugging people and taking lunch money in between tackles. Juve is a lot cleaner with their defensive tactics than Atletico is, because you're 100% right. Diego Simeone, I'm convinced he had like one of those like bamboo canes, like Tommy Dreamer that used to have
Sandman.
He used to beat people half to death in the wrestling ring with the Kimbo stick. This is going to be something where it will be a masterclass of defense taking place. Unless Ajax comes out early and puts one on the board. If Ajax puts one on the board early, the game goes wide open. This is a situation where Mosaken is going to have to feature. You have to get this kid on the field. He has been electric for you lately if you're Juventus. He's been scoring in virtually every which way possible. You have to get this kid on the field. And I think he's 100% ready for it. Now, whether Allegri agrees with me or not is something completely different. But 6 goals, 6 appearances for club and country. You're not beating it. Get the kid on the field. If it gets wide open, look for Ken, because he's going to get some magic done. Of course, you have Ronaldo. You have Costa. If Dybala somehow finds his way into this, I'd be shocked and amazed. But it could be a lot of fun, but Ajax has to get that early goal.
So let me ask the three of y'all this real quickly, Jason, before you steer us back onto the course. If Ajax does pull this off, can you bet against them going forward?
Oh, yeah. You can, just because it only gets tougher with the matchups in the next one if you get to the semis. I don't think they can get to the final, even if they get past this. This is not out of the realm of possibility. I'm with Nick. If Ajax gets an early goal, all bets are off. We're going to have a lot of fun tomorrow if Ajax scores in the first 15 minutes. I don't see it happening, though. I think Juve's just too much quality and too good at this type of situation where they can just close up shop and sit and defend. And I think it's 1-0 with a goal in like the 85th. After Ajax probably has 12 shots and 3 saves and 1 counter, and Ronaldo scores, and everybody gets sick to their stomach except for Juve fans.
The player to watch in this for me is going to be Bonucci, even though he's a villainous little snake. His ability.
Wow.
Yeah, got to put that out there.
That was brutally honest.
I keep it 100 on this show. He is. He's trash, and I'm going to leave it there.
Wow.
But his ability on the pitch cannot be denied. And one of his primary skills is when you get that press against it, and that ball finds its way to Bonucci's feet, right? If that ball starts cycling around and it finds its way to Bonucci's foot, he has the ability to spray passes from that back line with pinpoint accuracy up to the top. He will go right over Ajax. So Ajax can tout all the possession they want. They can tout all the speed they want. But that ball will eventually find its way to the teeth of that Juventus defense. And when it finds its way to Bonucci, he will spray it over, and one of those forwards will take it. And that's where I think, Jason, you're right. You're going to get that score in the 85th minute when there's some tired legs for Ajax.
Yeah, I just think that's where we're headed. If they somehow get past, it's just a tough matchup. It's one thing when you're playing against a team that is bad defensively and you go into this situation. Cool. Ajax they have a puncher's chance anyway, but you're going to feel a lot more like Cinderella can happen if you're going up against a team that doesn't know how to defend very well. It's in Juve's blood to defend. They'll get the job done. It won't be pretty. It'll be effective, and Juve will move on to the semis. Who moves on with them tomorrow is the question. Barcelona hosting Manchester United, 1-0 lead for Barca. They have the away goal. Does Manchester United have any hope of advancing here?
Sure, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Well, it's that doesn't answer anything. Yes or no?
No. No. They're too wiped out. You see this team play. I don't think it's anything to do with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I don't think it's anything to do with his tactics. I think it's a team that's just tired. They just look worn out. And, that last gasp of can-do spirit was burned up in Paris. And as a result, that team, you see them struggle. They're not exactly a team that's hitting on all cylinders at the moment. But I just don't think that they have the ability to overcome the firepower that Barcelona has. Regardless of how weak that back line is, Man United has to get a shot on goal. Talk to me when they get a shot on goal. Other than that, no, they're not moving past. Sorry, it's done. It's a wrap. If they come out and they win this game, I will come on this show. I will openly say how horribly wrong I am and how I will join the Bonucci trash pile. But I'm telling you, it's not happening.
I'm not seeing it either. But Jarrett, let me ask you this, and then everybody else chime in. Who has the better chance of getting the first goal and causing a surprise here? Ajax on the road in Italy, or Manchester United on the road in Spain?
I want to say Ajax because I think they'll be borderline reckless about it. We're going to go get this goal. We very well might give up the goal that kills us, but if we don't get it now, we might not get it, period. I think they're going to have a better chance. I think Man U can get a goal. My thing with this game is, tell me if this sounds like something you could imagine happening. Man U comes out and and Gunnar gets it all right. Gets everything right before the game, gets the subs right. They're in good shape. They fight back. They get it where they want to be, and Messi just rips their soul out with some stupid run and some stupid finish from an angle.
It's funny, about who's going to get the first, or who has the better chance to get the first goal. I honestly feel like it's Manchester United because they're going up against a weaker defense. But that's the reason why I feel like they won't, is that not so much Barcelona's defense, but the fact that they can have something magical happen with a player like Lionel Messi. They can hurt you with their attack as opposed to Juve, who I think is just going to sit and defend and choke the life out of Ajax, while Barcelona might just go in with a machete in the first 15 minutes.
Yeah, I've got to go. And I guess I'm not really using any real scientific analysis here, but I think it could be Ajax because I think that they're just going to try to throw everything up against the wall and see what sticks to see if they can get the early goal. And but I see your point about Manchester United and trying to figure it out. I just think Manchester United's too gassed right now, so by default, I'm going Ajax.
I just don't see it. I don't think Juve allows it to happen.
Yeah,
I don't think either one
Manchester
gets the first
United.
goal, honestly. Yeah, I think they have the better chance. I do.
And the thing is that I believe that they're going to come out at the Camp Nou. They're going to be fired up, exhausted, but fired up. They will dump all of their energy into getting that one goal. And then at that point, they'll be gassed. And guys, do you remember anything noteworthy that Messi had in the last game?
No.
I mean, he was asleep, right?
Yeah.
I mean, but so you're talking about a Barcelona team that held Man U without a shot. Messi wasn't even really factoring in. If Man U gets that goal, let's say that Messi wakes up. It's going to be like the old Godzilla movie where 45 minutes in, Godzilla wakes up and starts smashing Tokyo. I think it's going to be the same thing. I think Messi wakes up and then it's a wrap. It's over. Then you're looking at maybe a 2-1, 3-1 finish by the time it's all said and done.
Here's something for you to keep in mind. Of the 70 previous occasions that a team has won a Champions League knockout tie, first leg away from home, like Barcelona did, only 4 of the 70 have been eliminated. However, 2 of those instances, 2 of the 4, have been in this season's competition, including once by Manchester United.
Dropping facts into this show. What's the matter with you?
Hey, you know,
Yeah,
it has
we
to
don't need
happen
facts
occasionally.
Here,
Here, if
I'm a show of emotion and inflammatory comments.
Well, then my emotion would be this. If I'm Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I would say I would come up with the greatest speech or video or both that you could possibly say and tell.
Bring in
my
Sir
players,
Alex.
Whatever it takes. But I would tell my players, throw everything you have at the first 30 minutes. Everything you have at the first 30 minutes. If we get something, we've got a match. And I don't think they'll be gassed if they get something. I think that would give them life. And I think it would put a little bit of a scare into Barcelona. I think if Manchester United gets the first goal, they win it and they go on. But I don't think they get the first goal. If they do, they'll win the series.
I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it.
I mean, seriously, 4 of 70 have pulled this off, and 2 times this year, and Manchester United's one of them. You know that belief in the club's history, and if there's anybody who can talk about it, and it only was 20 years ago that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was part of one of the greatest comebacks in Champions League history. Just saying. He could give a speech for the ages, and it's going to take that to win this thing. I don't think they pull it off, but I think you're going to see a team throw everything they have left in their bodies at this in the first 30. And if they get something to show for it, I don't know if Barca can hold them off. And actually, if I'm not wrong here, correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't that Champions League final in 1999, wasn't that at the Camp Nou?
Efforting.
I believe it was. And if that's the case, that's a whole lot of crazy history coming back.
Look at you dropping
Manchester
the irony
United
card.
a chance here. Just saying. Can Marcus Rashford play the role of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer?
And so then in 20 years, Marcus Rashford becomes manager of Manchester United?
I'm okay with that. I'd be fine with that.
That was it. That was at Camp Nou.
I mean, see? Like, come on. Like, you've got to use that tomorrow.
See, that's strong. So but no, I think you bring in Sir Alex for your speech. I think you have to.
Here's what you do.
I say no.
No,
you can't bring in Sir Alex.
No, you don't bring in Sir Alex. Here's what you do. You started off with Teddy Sheringham. He walks in the door. He talks about what went into scoring that goal that tied it. You bring in David Beckham next because he served up both corners, and you get.
And he talks about all those tattoos.
No, he's not talking about tattoos, John. He's talking about comebacks, and he's talking about blood, sweat, and tears.
Or Fort Lauderdale.
No, that's after the game, John. John, stop. And then Ole Gunnar talks about how he did it. He's the one who did it.
In long
and Marcus
sleeves.
Rashford, you can do it too. And that's it. That's what happens. I wish. It probably doesn't.
And long sleeve puffy jerseys.
Don't diss those jerseys, John. Those were
the best jerseys.
Yeah.
Those were the best jerseys. Those were the classic. Like when you
as
ran
long as they weren't
like a parachute on you because they were just so naturally baggy.
Oh, yeah, those were giant. I mean, that's why Ryan Giggs took his off and ran around with the hairiest of hairy chests after scoring in the FA Cup semifinal that year. Mm-hmm. Those things were like thick and baggy and huge, and yeah, you wanted to get that thing off as fast as possible because they got heavy.
But yeah, look, get some of the old guys from that. I say the old guys, but the guys from that game to come in, including Captain Fort Lauderdale himself, David Beckham, and then. Come in there and just say, hey, guys, no matter how this shakes out, if you guys pull this off, you will be, you guys will be Manchester United legends going forward. But just know that we are in 100% support of you no matter what. just to get that kind of those legends coming through, handshake, high fives, pat on the back as you send them out. That could be enough to get, even in this jaded age, right, where there are no heroes, where no matter what, everyone has, everyone's a scumbag in disguise. We're living a Scooby-Doo episode where all the bad guys and monsters are people.
Complete with the chase scene?
It has to be. And the mystery machine opens up and the big puff of smoke comes out. Yes, all of it. But I'm just saying that even in this jaded world we live in, that move would count for something. And
It'd be
I think that it would be amazing. It would be absolutely amazing. They would do 30 for 30s on that. Like the camera's following Beckham as he walks in. We're going to go and visit the locker room. And, whatever Muppet voice he wants to use. And he goes in and he does his little thing.
Old Beaker Beckham.
Say, yeah. Why not?
It would be an amazing thing to pull off. And, when you read stories about when Barca was in the Champions League final in Pep Guardiola's first year, and the video's actually been posted, which is really cool. Like, I highly recommend going to check it out. Pep commissioned a video to play in the locker room before the team went out. And it was set to the Gladiator theme from the movie that it had just come out. And it's like all the biggest moments of the season, and he made sure to get every player featured in it, even guys who only saw the field as a substitute for a few minutes during the year. Everybody featured in it. I think all the staff featured in it. It's really well done. And I mean, he even said maybe it was a little too well done because the team was a little too keyed up when they went out to start that match. But this is the kind of thing where you've got to pull out all the stops. If you're Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I mean, this is it for your season. This is the biggest thing you have left. You do have a chance. You're 1-0 down. That can be overturned. You did it already in this tournament where you pulled off this kind of upset. Pull out all the stops. If you just play stoppage time from the 1999 Champions League final in that stadium, you just play that video after bringing in everybody to speak to these guys, and you play that, and you say, go be heroes, whatever. It's worth a shot.
Hey, I am the patron saint of the underdog, and don't ever get me wrong. I'd love to share in the underdog optimism, but I don't see it. I think it's going to be two grinders, and it won't be the prettiest TV we've ever seen.
No, I don't think Barcelona and Manchester United's two grinders. I completely disagree about that. I don't think Manchester United gets it done. I think they do come out with a ton of energy because they know they need to get something early. I think they do put a scare into Barcelona, but it ends up being a comfortable Barcelona win.
For me, I think Ajax is the one that puts the scare into both of them, and it's going to be.
But that's what I disagree, because Juve is going to sit and grind, totally see that happening. Barcelona's not that. I don't think they have that in them. I think they're going to counter, and if Manchester United throws bodies forward, that just opens up doors for Barcelona to go kill them off early. I don't think Juve cares about killing Ajax off early. I don't think they're even worried about it.
Well, can we just talk about for one moment in the land of make-believe, if Ajax pulls this off and Barcelona goes through, the absolute showcase that we will get with Ajax and Barcelona, I would pay, and you guys know how I felt about the Bleacher Report and their model. I would pay for that game. I would do full-on pay-per-view for that game. I would call
you won't have to. It'll be on TNT.
No, that'll be on network.
The boss is getting a call. I'm out sick. I have the chicken pox or the flu or something. I don't know, but I'm just saying it's happening. I'm out.
You get the Ajax.
Don't call me. I'm all in on that one.
I mean, I will be watching it, and I will probably be having whoever's got the other one. It's going to be the last button is going to be my friend in this round.
So actually, Nick, it's not. Unless I'm reading this wrong, it is not Ajax and the winner, or Ajax, Juve, Manchester United, Barcelona. That's not the matchup. It's Ajax Juve against Tottenham Manchester City is the way the bracket works out.
Well, that would be my dream is broken now, guys. Thank you for killing my fact.
I apologize, but that's just how it is. That's what I do. You want to move on to Wednesday?
Sets it up for Pep. Yeah, move on to Wednesday.
So Wednesday, it's 1-0 in favor of the visiting team at the City of Manchester Stadium. Manchester City hosting Tottenham.
The Etihad.
The Etihad. Will they see a comeback? Will Manchester City move on? What do you think?
Yes.
John? Yeah?
Yeah, I think they do. I just think that their offense is just too lethal, and I think that while we've seen Son kind of take and Lucas Moura take the steps for Harry Kane, I just think that Manchester City just puts too much on the table, and it might take them a little longer than normal, but I think they'll work their way through.
Nick, let me ask you. I read a piece over at The Athletic before we got started. Do you think that Pep Guardiola overthinks things in the Champions League?
Well, the record certainly indicates that, doesn't it? I mean, I don't think that Pep. There are people who will take that comment and they'll say that Pep, I don't know, I'm trying to find the politically correct way of saying, well, he choked in these games. But I think, honestly, it's just something where in these situations, he does overthink it. And, we've all seen the Manchester City, the all or nothing Manchester City story on Amazon. And, you see him go into this hyperactive, moving magnetic pieces around a board. When you take that kind of intensity for a regular league game and you add in the intensity of a Champions League, a high-level Champions League game on top of it, yeah, he overthinks it. At some point, you just got to like, hey, fellas, we've drilled a lot. We've practiced a ton. Now it's on you. So go out and play because you're one of the best teams on the planet. Prove it. And that's not Pep Guardiola. So I think that I will go on a limb and say, no, I think Spurs pull the win. And I think history backs me up on this. We can talk about all the legends and future superstars and however we want to remember these guys all over the field that will be there for Man City. But this game just speaks to me, and it says Spurs are walking out the winners.
I'm kind of leaning that way too. And it's like my gut is telling me that it's Spurs. My head is saying no. It's Manchester City. I mean, Harry Kane's out. Like it's City. They Spurs needed another one in the first leg. I kind of think they did, but I just don't. When does it catch up to Manchester City what they're doing right now? Like they're gonna slip somewhere in here. They needed a little bit more last week, maybe. I don't know.
Well, you didn't need to miss a PK.
Well, yeah, I mean, the history's all over the place in this one. That's the numbers are really weird here. So Manchester City has lost all 5 of their previous matches or ties against fellow English clubs, including all 3 in Champions League. That's in European competition. Tottenham were eliminated the last time they won 1-0 in the first leg at home of a European tie. It was in the UEFA Cup in 2000 against Kaiserslautern. This is the one that's a little surprising. So, of the 32 previous occasions in Champions League history where a team lost the first leg away from home, 32 times, you'd think, okay, you lose the first leg 1-0 on the road, you're going back home for the second leg, you're in pretty good shape. That usually look at that as a positive, right?
Until
of the 32 times it's happened, only 10 came back. I would have argued with you if you had told me that was the case. You'd think losing 1-0 on the road, going home for the second leg, you're good. You're fine. 22 out of 32 times you weren't. That's surprising. I think Tottenham's going to get it done. I don't know why I think that. My gut's telling me that. It might have been the dinner I had that's telling me that. I don't know. But
what you have for dinner?
Find a way. That was good pasta. That was nice pasta, nice spaghetti.
That would have lent myself to a Juve answer.
but that's not the series we're talking about. So, and I did say Juve, actually. So anyway, I didn't need a Dutch.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's Tottenham. I just think that City is not going to be able to pull off this magical year, and I do worry
City
a little
wins
bit about
all
Pep.
but one, and I don't know which one it is.
I think it might be this one. I think the Champions League is just a little bit of a block for Pep right now, and I do think he's overthinking it.
Well, if there's a team that can go fast when they want to, it's Spurs. If there's a team that wants to grind it out when they want to, it's Spurs. I think City plays a particular way, and the way that they play is the way they play. Good luck to you. Now, Pep is obviously more than intelligent enough to alter things as he wants, but how far do you go down that rabbit hole before you start overthinking it?
Yeah.
As my friend Tim out there, who is a huge Spurs fan, noted to me as I was sort of trolling him left and right about the prospects of going through without Kane. He said, "Yo, man, they played better when Kane was out. They didn't have that focal point. They were more dangerous. You couldn't key in on who was going to get the ball. So that has to count for something."
Yeah.
You would think.
Somebody agrees.
The dogs
it's the killer dachshunds that are outside of their magic fence.
No, it's all good.
So,
it sounds like they're Manchester City fans. They're angry about the picks of Spurs.
They're just asserting their territory and masculinity. So crisis averted. But I mean, if you look at, I mean, seriously, if you look at them without Harry Kane, and as much as I try to block out Fernando Llorente from my brain, it's Lucas Moura, it's Heung-min Son. I mean, the emergence of those two alone probably sit there and they pull people's minds away from Harry Kane, and I don't blame them one bit. You know what Jan Vertonghen does at the back, and you've seen what Christian Eriksen can do. So I completely get that mindset of, okay, no Kane, no problem. I get that completely.
It's going to be interesting. And then the other one on Wednesday is Porto hosting Liverpool. Porto trails 2-0. Any chance for Porto here?
Nah.
No.
I'm not seeing it either. I just don't think it happens. Would love to see an early goal from Porto to make it interesting, but I think Liverpool probably scores in the first half to put this thing away.
So then that sets up Liverpool-Barca?
Yeah. If both go through, that would be it.
And Juve and either Tottenham
or
Manchester City. Okay.
All right.
Times.
I'm actually feeling, but can we just be grateful for a moment that we don't have a Real Madrid in here, like a Real Madrid juggernaut to deal with? That for once we have like an open and exciting tournament where, anyone could win. For once we
except
have
for Porto.
Well, I don't think Porto's going to win.
They have the longest shot of the four for sure.
Yeah. Thanks for coming and playing, Porto. Here's your gift bag. But for once we have an open and exciting tournament. And also one last thing to plant my flag on. If Manchester United goes out, journalists do not do the stupid clickbait article, did Man U pull the trigger on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer too early?
I'll tell you when they do that article.
Want to bet?
I'll tell you when they do it. When Spurs knock City out. That's when they do the article is, Pochettino. He's so great. Everybody should have waited for Pochettino.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe Pochettino is that great. I'm kind of starting to lean into the direction that he is.
Well, considering that he hasn't had a thing to deal with financially in the last two transfer windows, and he's had to do it the way that he's done it.
But that's by design. I mean, let's be real here, and I highly recommend reading the Guillaume Balage book about Pochettino and Spurs. It's like a diary from Mauricio Pochettino about, I believe it's the 2015-2016 season at Spurs. It might be 16-17. I'll have to go back and double check. But it's from Balage, puts it together, but it's Pochettino's diary basically of the season. And the thing about him that really won me over was he believes in that process. You know, like he doesn't – I don't think Real Madrid would be interesting to him at all, because then it's just go buy the best players and just go whatever. I think he loves the grinding. He loves bringing guys up from the youth team. He loves watching young players develop and figuring out what it's going to take for that player to reach their full potential. He likes the challenge. I honestly think if things hadn't changed at Southampton, he might have stayed. He might have just decided to stay there and keep trying to build them up further and further. I think he loves what he's doing.
Could you think about Southampton now if he'd have stayed?
I mean, well, if everything hadn't fallen apart for Southampton on the ownership side, it's a different conversation. But if he had stayed, he probably would have kept some of those guys. I mean, some of the stories he told in the book about guys like crying as they're telling him that they have to leave, they have to take the offer, and he would have. I think he would have stayed if he had been able to stay and be comfortable. I think he would have stayed. But that's why I think Real Madrid was never really a consideration for him, and I don't think Manchester United would have been a consideration for him. I think he's very, very happy doing what he's doing at Spurs, and he wants to show everybody that, hey, even in the modern game where money rules everything, he wants to say maybe it doesn't rule every single thing, and he wants to do it differently. And if he pulls this off, he's planting the flag for that. Well, it's not even Moneyball. Like, I don't even know if that's a fair way to put it, because it's not like Moneyball to me is going out and finding all these guys who are undervalued and bringing them in. It's not even that. It's saying we're going to do it ourselves. I'm not even going to go find these underpriced guys and get a good bargain. I'm going to just do it myself. And I've got this player coming up. I really like his qualities. I'm going to further them even more, and I'm going to turn him into a superstar. I think he loves that.
And if this with that mindset, if they go through and Ajax goes through, you'll have two teams.
Development versus development.
And then, but what does that show the world then? Development versus development. So they've made it. They've proven the model can work where you develop talent, and you have officially taken it to the highest levels. This is no longer some mythical dream of, in the world of rich oil barons and conglomerates buying teams. You finally have two squads that are developed coming in and doing this.
Would love to see it. It'd be so good for the game. It'd be such a great thing for the sport. And I hope it would start some trends, and I hope it would convince, some clubs that were maybe at the level of a Spurs a few years ago that, you can do this. It would convince some clubs, at the level of an Ajax and countries like that, and say, you can actually strive to compete at this level too. But I think it'd open up more possibilities for players. I think they would realize, hey, I don't need to go be a guy who's the second, winger at a super mega club and play, 2/3 of the time. I can go be a star at a club right underneath it and win a Champions League. Would love to see it. It'd be the best thing for the sport right now.
I would absolutely love to see something like that, where you have something that's absolute development from the ground up to sit there and say, you can do it this way. I just don't know how many of the clubs that would be in Champions League that have that big pedigree would sit there and want to, I'm not necessarily going to say change their ways, but view it as a viable alternative for how they do things.
No, mega clubs don't have to change it. They have big money, and big money always wins. We know that. But when you get the Leicester story, that, it's almost impossible to repeat, but it does make you think that maybe it can happen. You get a Tottenham story that if they go on and win Champions League, I think it convinces some clubs to say, you know what, I'm going to hold on to this player. I'm not going to take the crazy, stupid money that people are offering for Harry Kane. He wants to stay here. He's bought in. I'm going to pay him good money to stay, and we're going to get this done. I hope it would change the process. It'd be a lot of fun if it does. But just getting to where they are, it's a great story. So I'm excited about the second legs of the quarterfinals we've got this week. I think all four are compelling in different ways, and there's going to be a lot to talk about next week from it for sure.
All right, so let's get into some of the other news of the world. Let's take it to Italy now, where there are some rumors kicking about that there could be some ownership changes coming pretty soon to both Serie B and Serie A. As we talk about leagues, guys, that need to start embracing the build, not buy, Serie A, wake up. Invest in this. Invest in your academies, build them up. And, oh, my God, shocking and amazing, play the youth. Play the young guys. Look at Ken. It can happen. It can work. But our dear friends at QSI, the owners of PSG, are allegedly looking, this is according to Chiesa di Totti, at buying AS Roma from Jim Pilata. Jim Pilata's come out and said it's fake news. It's not happening. But the rumors are circulating now at Corriere dello Sport, Roma Press, and L'Equipe. And, guys, here's the kicker. If this happens, allegedly, they would ditch PSG and set up a base of operations in Rome. So,
I mean, it's it's a better, if you're going to invest all your money into a club, I think it's a better one. I do. It's a better league. There's more potential there. Wow.
Well, then what? But if this didn't go through, weren't they looking at some of the teams in the championship with pedigree, like Birmingham or Forest or City or Aston Villa or something like that?
What it sounds like is they're realizing that PSG is not going to happen. It's just you can pump all the money and players into PSG, and you play in a league that is and it's very hard to keep your level high enough. You're at a league that's in between, like an Ajax and the top, and it's very hard to get the best players to want to come stay there. I mean, if Neymar, comes there, takes all the money, and then wants to leave pretty soon, I think that says enough. Like, it's just, I don't think you're going to do what you want to do in Paris at the end of the day. If you could do it in Rome, yeah.
If you look at it from a college football perspective, playing in Ligue 1, I mean that's like what, playing in what would be the equivalent of that? Like playing in the WAC, maybe, like the Western Athletic Conference.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty good one. Yeah.
I mean, you may be the best one in the WAC, but have you been really tested at any point? No, probably not.
The American.
Yeah, the American Athletic Conference. There you go.
Your UCF.
Exactly. There we go. Perfect. So you're UCF, and you have gone and you've said, we play quality football. We are absolutely capable of beating anyone on any given day. That's fine. But your league is letting you down because it's not preparing you for the Champions League. When you go in and you face a side like a Manchester United, who's been running and gunning with some of the top teams in the world on a day-to-day basis. I mean, sure, you're going to be, facing the Newcastles of the world, but at the same time, you will be playing Man City. You will be playing Liverpool. You will be playing Chelsea. It counts for something. You will be playing Spurs. It counts for something. So this move makes a lot of sense to me. And Italy, the moves keep on happening where poor Palermo, who was, if anyone remembers the story where Palermo was sold for essentially €10, which was like a processing fee. Well, that ownership group fell through, shocking. And now York Capital, who was looking to buy Sampdoria, that fell apart. Now they're looking to buy Palermo. I have tremendous reservations over this. Now, allegedly, York Capital will be investing in a new stadium for them, which great, good for you, and training ground. But the problem is, I don't know how well this will all play in Sicily. Sicily is a different animal than the rest of Italy. Like, if you talk about how the Romans have trouble with Pilata, Palermo, it will be very interesting to see how the Sicilians react to outside people coming in and buying the club. And it's a different animal also from, shall we say, more shadowy aspects in Sicily than on the mainland as well. It is what it is. Shadowy. So, okay. Go ahead.
No, I've got a wacky bit of news for you guys, but I'm going to introduce it with a question.
Okay.
So there's a report out there in the news that a very famous player has a replica painting of The Last Supper, except he has replaced, the man at the head of the table, Jesus Christ, with himself.
Zlatan.
Who do you think that player is?
Neymar.
Nope.
Ooh.
It's not Zlatan?
Nope, not Zlatan. According to AS in Spain, it is Sergio Ramos. Yeah. There is a documentary series that is being prepared for Amazon Prime, and it will follow Sergio Ramos' life. And that is one of the revelations in it, that he, has done this replica painting, and he has replaced two of the apostles as well. One is Pilar Rubio, his longtime partner, who he has 3 children with, and the other one is Marcelo, his good friend at Real Madrid.
To quote
the last Sergio.
I mean, there you go.
Yeah. To quote Silky Johnson from the Haters Ball on Chappelle's Show, I hope all the bad things in life happen to you and nobody else but you. Because there's nothing ever in life that warrants you painting yourself into the Last Supper.
Now, I haven't seen it yet. This is just reported by AS in Spain. But, wow. I mean, how do you think Liverpool fans are going to feel about that one, huh?
You're inviting bad karma, son.
Nope. I keep going back to Raiders of the Lost Ark. Like, when the picture gets put on the wall, like, it starts burning up and, like, lightning bolts spray out of it. That's what I'm really hoping for here. If we can get a Raiders of the Lost Ark moment and they have to tote the picture away and they put it in some warehouse, like, the picture's being investigated by top men. Who? Top men. It's like, da-na-na, as the picture's led away. Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. Maybe a little grandiose, but that's what I'm looking for.
Just
Sergio Ramos' son, that ain't right.
That ain't right.
Just mind-blowing. I got to talk about the situation in Argentina as well, because the deeper I dive into the Argentine League and Cup system, the more I just get confused on a regular basis. So
then why go there?
Because it's amazing. Because it's just on it. It's like the home run derby league that I had in my neighborhood when I was in middle school, that we made up all the rules and made up our own game.
It's Calvin Ball.
No, because we were serious about it, but the rules.
Ghost Man on second.
They change on like a daily basis. Like, okay, we're going to introduce this because we're bored. We want to add some spice to it. That seems like what the Argentine Federation and League system does. It's just nuts. So you just had the league season end, and Racing won the title, and the celebrations around Racing winning the title were pretty epic. The wildest story that I read from that was a Racing fan went to the cemetery and dug up the skull of his grandfather, who was a lifelong Racing fan, and took it to the celebrations. That happened. That's how crazy this place is.
There's pictures of this. For those who do not believe
there's
what
pictures.
Jason's saying,
There's
it exists.
Yeah, I'm not making that one up. Like that's not a report from AS. Like, there's pictures of this. So,
that is a dusty skull that man is holding too. It is a dusty skull.
It's just so amazing and weird and strange and scary all at the same time. So right now, the season's been over. We've talked about the Copa Argentina and how wild it is, because like you have teams that have been qualified for the round of 32 for 2 months now, and you don't have the round of 64 completely done yet because things, I don't know. But you have another cup that started now, the Copa de la Superliga. It's like a league cup, but it's just of the first division teams from this year. We talked about Tigre and Tigre getting relegated because the relegation is over a 3-year period. And Tigre put it together in this season of the Superliga, but they were pretty much already doomed. Well, they put it together so well that they actually were in a Copa Sudamericana qualifying spot, but they don't get to keep that because they were relegated. But in this Copa de la Superliga, there is a Copa Libertadores spot on the line, and that won't be taken away. So if Tigre goes on, who's being relegated, to win the cup, and they've got to win like 6 games. It's over 2 legs in the first rounds. So if they win like 6 or 8 games, something like that, they qualify for a Copa Libertadores spot, even though they'll be in the 2nd division in Argentina next year. It's just craziness. So you've got 2 cups going on at once right now. The format for next year was all up in the air until very recently, and it's chaos. I'm trying to find it because it makes no sense for me to actually remember how crazy it is. It's just bonkers. I mean, there was an argument, and we were laughing about this one. There was an argument going on about this Copa de la Superliga about if it would count as a league title or if it would count as a cup title. Because league titles, even though the formats for the league in Argentina seems to change every season, like you've had Apertura Clausura, you've had just one long season, you had a Torneo Inicial and a Torneo Final. I mean, you've all kinds of weird names and crazy things. But the league titles, the number of league titles you have is just very, very, very important. So there was a lot of argument, people saying they wanted this to be a league title. It's not a league title. It's a cup. Like, it doesn't make any sense in Argentina anymore. It's amazing.
All I'm saying is that tomorrow at 7:05, Defensa is playing. So adjust your schedule.
Which cup are they playing in, though?
That's Copa Argentina, sir. Copa Argentina.
Okay, they're in
I don't know how to speak Spanish, but Defensa entran pero no pueden salir. So I don't know how to say get in Spanish, but that's as close as I can get.
Wait a minute. We'll get this. They are, yes, it is the Copa Argentina round of 64, and they're playing Gimnasia y Tiro. And they will be playing, since they finished second in the league, they will be playing a qualifier in the Copa de la Superliga. The top, I think, 6 or 8 teams got buys. So that will be on Sunday, April 28th. That's your Defensa y Justicia update.
Well, there we go.
Y'all, I'm glad there's not a test. That's all I can say.
It's amazing. Just embrace it. Just
well, I'm not.
When the games
what I'm
are
saying
going to happen.
is that I'm not denying its brilliance in all of its tentacles and its silliness. I'm just saying I'm glad there's not a test.
It's just insane. I mean, luckily, Fanatis, and big-time shout-out to Fanatis, the Copa de la Superliga has been just so chaotic, and actually, is the thing going to happen? They didn't have the rights until a few hours before it kicked off, but they got it done. And if you wanted to watch the first game of the Copa de la Superliga, you could watch it on Fanatis. Because they do not
I'm telling
play.
you, Fanatis does not play. They are not here for the silly games. They are here for the realness.
Fanatis don't stop.
Don't stop. So something else that
tremendous.
does not stop is soccer over there. Do you hear the chime? The chime lets you know everything. The chime says next Monday. Right? Is it next Monday?
Oh, yeah.
Is this next Monday? I have to get my calendar right.
You are correct.
Yeah.
Next Monday.
From today.
What time again, guys? What time again? What was
6
it? 6:30? 6 o'clock we're doing this? Okay.
Uh-huh.
It's at Rera. I will be there. Who else will be there, guys? Who's coming with me? That's all I need to know right now. Jerry Maguire moment. Who's coming with me?
I'm there.
I'm there.
All right. This is what's happening. We are partnering with Soccer in the Streets to put on a podcast-a-thon, the likes of which have not been seen in human history. I don't want to inflate it too much. I'm just going to say you've never seen this before in human history. Prepare yourselves accordingly.
Modesty. I like that.
Called the babysitter. You have time. Get it done. We will have a raffle that will blow your minds. So come out. We will have special set up where it's an AMA format. You chip in $1 or $2, and you ask us anything. The only thing off topic that we will not answer, unless the sum is like absolutely stupid, or it's political questions. Political questions, that's like a 3-figure deal. That's like a couple of $100 you got to drop in the bowl to get me to answer anything political. But if you want to ask me about my thoughts on terminal high altitude air defense, chuck in a couple of bucks there. We can make it happen. You want to ask me about Syria and what needs to be done, drop in a couple of bucks, make it happen. You want to ask Jason or John something, drop the money, make it happen. Jessica from one of the Queens of the South will be co-hosting with us as well. And then some of our other friends from Unrelegated, Siempre United and beyond will be joining us as well. So this is a full podcast family that will be getting this done. It's all for the kids, but it only happens if you show up. Because otherwise, I will be looking very stupid sitting behind a microphone and nobody there at Reraw. But we're going to have, yeah, that would be something, wouldn't it? But we're going to have drink specials. Those will be announced. We will have raffles. We will have all kinds of crazy stuff happening. But be there. We really need you guys. We're trying hard to put on a really great product here. So come out and support us. We get DMs all the time. Hey, how can we help you guys? What can we do? Let me take you to lunch. You can come to Reraw and buy my burger there. If you want to make it happen, and actually instead of buying my burger, take the money you were going to buy my burger with and drop it in the donation bowl. And
there
let's
you go.
Help these kids out. That's the plan right there. So let's do that if we can. Gentlemen, anything else before we get out of here?
I have an update on somebody else who's going to join us next Monday.
Oh, I'm sorry. What is it? Whoa. Please.
Mike Conti's going to swing by.
Mike Conti's in. Mike Conti is in. So there we go. Guys, we keep adding to the guest list.
Mm-hmm.
This thing is getting larger and larger, and all that we're missing is you. So if you're out there listening right now, I want you to call your significant other, if you have one, and say, "Look, significant other, this is happening. All right, Monday the 22nd, 6 p.m. Reraw. I'm going to be there, and you should be there too. Bring the kids along. Bring everyone along. I don't know what Reraw's rules with pets and whatnot, but come out and say hi to us. Shake hands.
Be there, book 'em, Dano, aloha.
That's right. And you can even mock me if you want. Don't mock the other guys, but if you want to heckle me while I'm up there, by all means. Anything else going on with you gentlemen of note?
Well, I mean, you can always have your Bielsa update, which is hanging out right there. So right there, they're in the number 2 automatic promotion spot, the second one in the championship. And it's a bit of a fight, but right now they're number 2. Norwich looks like they're going to be promoted. And they should be winning the championship. But right now, Bielsa is he's right there in the number 2 slot.
Love it.
And then the greatest escape continues. The greatest escape of escapes continues. AFC Wimbledon now 1 point away from escaping relegation, and one win gets them up to 15th in the table. It is going to be a street fight in League One for the remaining 4 or 5 matches that folks have left.
Bonkers.
Sweet.
There we go. This is fantastic. All right. Well, Jason, anything from you outside of the wonderful update that Mr. Mike Conti will be joining us?
No, Mike's joining us next Monday. This week on the SDH platform, we'll have your USL Championship in 10, your USL League 1 in 10, our first NWSL in 10, with the NWSL season kicking off this weekend. It's busy. It's a busy time of the year, but it's a fun time of the year, and we'll have a Twos review tomorrow as well, talking about the big week for Atlanta United 2, and Atlanta United's home this weekend, so get ready for hopefully another appearance from the boat show, really wrecking people with gigantic curling goals.
Magnificence. Pure magnificence. Go out right now while you're calling the babysitter to get clearance for the 22nd. And hit the YouTubes up and watch that Barco curler. It is magnificent. One thing of note for Bielsa season, Jaime Lannister on Game of Thrones huge Leeds fan.
Yes.
So there you go. So if you're looking for a team to cheer for, and the Kingslayer happens to catch your fancy on Game of Thrones, well, the Kingslayer cheers for Mr. Bielsa.
Dropped his name in his interview on Kimmel.
That's right. So there we go. All right. Until next Monday at Rera, 6 o'clock, be there. Garlic Bread Warlord Nick Leafy for Jason Longshore and John Nelson, and ladies and gentlemen, the entire SDH universe. God bless you. We love you, and we will see you in person very, very soon. Mucha Euro, y'all.
ESPN2, top of the hour. Hillsborough, 30 for 30. All the Lyra.